Hello and welcome to Hixxy Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card and I will be using this set from Crafter's Companion. It's a stencils and polymer stamp set. It's called You Are The One and I'm going to be showing you just how to use one part of it on this particular project. However, make sure you look on the channel because I've also done these two cards which also use this set. So there are quite a few different configurations that you can use with just this set. So let's have a look at what we've got in the pack because there's quite a bit in there. Put that to one side. So to start with, you get the main stencil, but you also get the mask. So a stencil is where you put something through to create the image, in this case the tree, the lamps, the fence, and then the mask is where that is covered and then you could create the background if you like for it. So that's one part of it, and you can use it this way, you can use it that way. There is no right or wrong way around it. It's up to you how you do that. Also, you get these two stencils and the masks that go with them, because this whole series of from Crafter's Companion is all about silhouettes. So it enables you to make moon. So for example, like here, to create the moon on this one, and here the clouds. So that they're really useful, not just with this set, but these are two really useful little things in all your other kind of things where you're making a scene. Now, along with that, you also get a stamp set, the photopolymer stamp set. So you get they are silhouette, so they're completely solid. There's no detail in them. So you've got the man and lady holding hands, you've got them under the umbrella, and then you've got the three different sentiments. You are the one, a heart full of hugs and kisses, and love is patient and kind. Okay, so that's the set. What we are going to be doing is just using, for this one, we are just going to use the stencil and one of the sentiment stamps. Now, I'm going to use this to emboss with. Okay, on this one, I think. We're going to use this to emboss with. And, oh, put it that way. Sorry, I completely got myself muddled there. Yeah, so we're going to emboss, which means we're going to stick this through our machine to create some dimension, and then we're going to leave it on, and then we're going to ink through it. Now you could create that dimension with texture paste. It would create a similar kind of thing, very different feel to it, but a similar kind of thing that I'm going for with the dimension. Now I'm not going to stick this down yet. Okay, I'm going to put this through the machine. Now, it may take some playing with your machine, or it might you might be able to Google and find the correct combination. Now, for the Gemini, for this machine, and remember all the machines are different too, then what I have used is, and I'm putting it through sideways, the base plate, the embossing mat, the card, the stencil, and then the cloudy shim, the plastic one, and the top mat. Now that might be too much pressure for your machine, so I would always recommend you start with minimum pressure. So you might start without the cloudy. It's better to start with less and build it up slowly by sort of swapping in and out plates. But I've had a play on. It's different on my machine. This would be I saw it on the very old the old embossing mats, which are thicker. So it is a case of knowing your machine and using appropriate things for your machine. Okay, right. That, and I am just going to slightly lift that. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. The reason I'm holding on to it is I want to be able to put it back over. There is texture there. Okay. now, oh, I've moved it anyway. I will take it off because I have moved it. If the camera could be better. There is texture there. You can see where I put it through the machine. You've got the texture of the image. So now I'm going to attempt to put it back on. It should go on quite easily because it should slot over the top of that raised image. And I'm going to grab some tape to tape this down. Am I going to tape it down? Actually, I'm not going to tape it down because what I want is to do like I did here, and that is literally to have a coloured border. So I want the ink to be there. It's going to be a case of me holding it in place. Now, if you want to, and you could have done this before it goes through the machine, you can put some something like Crafter's Companion Stick and Spray on the back, which is a temporary adhesive. But I'm a bit lazy and I don't tend to do that. I'm going to grab my inking mat and we're going to put this on here. And then I am going to get my inks. So I have used gathered twigs for the tree and for the sort of fence. I have used pumice stone for the birds and the kind of lights part of the lights, and then black soot for the the iron work. And I'm going to get a piece of paper, and I'm gonna get a smaller piece and knock that off already. Make your stencils down. Makes life easier. Right. So here we go. Right, I am going to start with the tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this over the top. Get my stencil back in place. And there we go. I'm going to hold that down. So what I'm trying to do is avoid getting the gathered twigs, the brown, all the way over onto the other empty bits there. So I'm just going to hold that with my fingers, and I'm just going to again just make sure I've got this in the right place because I don't think I have. With it being white on white, I'm being a bit naughty really. I should have stuck it down. There we go. Right, let's go for it. Okay, so we're going in with our gathered twigs. I mean, this will work without embossing. It just gives it a little bit of more texture if you emboss it first. And I've just moved the stencil again. And try and be gentle, although I'm not sure that's really within me. More here. Now, what I want to do is I do want to go over the edge because I want to create a little border. There'll be a white part where the stencil is, but then I want kind of an edge to it. I'm going to start going up this way now. And then coming out, so I've got a nice little edge to my stencil. Oh, and I've moved it, not to worry. There we go. And then, so I just want to a bit more down here to give myself a nice edge. Okay, and then so there we go. So far we've got our tree, and I did move the stencil a bit there, but I'm going to add some bits on there so they'll be covered. So there's our tree, and then we're going to come down and we're going to do our fence down here. Last stencil back in the groove. Excuse me. That's the one. Oh. So just going to kind of get my little bit of paper again, try and mask off my birds here. Now I've done that top bit, I don't want the birds being, doesn't matter if they get a little bit in there, but I don't really want too much brown on the birds. I want them to be distinct from the so I think my hand is kind of in the, oh, now I've moved it, try and move my hand to show you. There we go. Again, coming just out the other side of the stencil. Oh, let me put my mucky finger there. Okay, so now we've got our tree and we've got our fence. I'm going to just turn everything around, and let's just put the thing on that for the moment. We are going to do this a little bit. I'm just going to do the little birds with the pumice stone. There they are. And I'm going to do, oh, just coming through in here, so it looks like the lights, the lamps, if you like, are on. I'm not worrying too much if I've gone over the other bits because the black soot will cover those. But what we do now need to do is to try not to get too much black soot into the bits where the lights are. So we're going to cover that for the moment. Black soot in there, and I'm coming up with the black soot up here too, because I want that oh, nearly went in the tree there with the black soot. There we go, that's there. And then put that over there. Do this bit down here first. Oh. And come up to do these bits of the raw iron. And just gently go in there. So, and this bit here. Put that bit in as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do in order to create the line there, so I'm not contaminating anything, I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to put, oh yes, I've got a clean bit in there. And I'm just going to put my piece of paper here, so I can get a nice crisp edge on there without worrying too much whether I'm disturbing the stencil or not. This just gives a white border in a moment, with a white border around the stencil, and then it allows me to have a little bit of colour when I cut it. Okay, so let's put those to the side, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a heat blast. And then I'm going to put this through the guillotine, and just doing that, just try and bend the card back the other way. That was all. Then we're going to trim this off, and then I need, I haven't cut at the moment the piece for the gold piece to mount this on, because I didn't know how much sort of edge I would end up with. So we're going to just see how we go. Might trim a little bit more. Let's see if we'll go with this. And oh look, I forgot to do that little bit down there. So we're going to go in a moment with our gathered twigs again. See what I mean about having a there. I do need to go back in with the gathered twigs here. So that's not a problem. We'll just grab our little bit of paper again, mask that off, and I would imagine I've probably got enough ink still, still on the brush to be able to give myself an edge, or maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. To give myself that edge there. Okay. Right. Let's have a look. Put that to one side for now. And grab the piece of gold mirror card. And I'm just going to turn this over, and I'm going to put it onto the mirror card. It's quite hard. In fact, if I do it that way, then you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just working out how much of a border I would like, and grab a pencil, and then I am marking my card by eye. Oh, that's just check I've got that straight on there. It doesn't look like I have. Go a little bit more out there. You can always trim a bit more off if we need to in a minute. So, the guillotine back in, and going to that there, and there, and then I'm going to bring in the bit for the card. Excuse me, leaning across the camera like that. I'm just going to check whether that piece of gold, no, see, that's too big. But that's okay. So that means I need to cut this down, which is fine. We'll cut this down first, and then we'll see how much more we need to cut off of the actual image. And this is why I didn't pre-cut it, because although I'm doing the same thing with the same stencil, I don't always end up cutting the same amount off. So if I pre-cut it, then I would be having more trouble because I'm trying to work out. In fact, that's not straight, is it? Let's get this straightened up and see how we're going to. Now, I know it's not straight because I put this bit here and I can see that the line here isn't straight. So all I'm doing is I'm just going to go round and straighten this up, which probably means I didn't cut my stencil part straight in the first place. We could be on a little bit of a... Right, so I now know that that is square. What I need to do is to cut this down so that it's going to fit on. So let's get this in. And yeah, that bit wasn't straight. Cut a little bit off of there. And there. And there. And there. And we just offer it up and see. Yeah, there we go. No problem. Always better to cut things bigger than potentially you need them, and then you can always trim them down. Oh, look at all the mucky fingerprints all over that gold mirror card. Now, at home, I would probably gut the middle of that card, and what that means is I'd cut the center out of there, because you're only seeing the edge, and then it would save a bit of card for another project. But we're gonna forge on as it is. So let's get, this is Centura pearl, hint of gold to go with the gold mirror. Now, I've been bad, and I've stored my point it out that way so you can see but I've stored my card, the pack stood up in my box. And the problem with that is because it's there's not tightly packed in my box, it started to bow a little bit. And that's not brilliant because it means it doesn't want to sit flat on my card. It will, but you're always best to store your card stocks, your packs of card, flat. And so if you do end up like this, the best way to do it, and I don't have time because obviously I'm showing this on the video, I would then put this underneath my craft mat for a little bit. In fact, I can do that because I could do I'll tell you what, we will do that. I'm going to put this under my craft mat. It starts to flatten out while I'm working on the other stuff. So yeah, it's just something that certain cardstocks will do that. So just be careful how you store them. Right, so let's go back to this card and show you what else I've got for it. So I have got some hearts, some nesting hearts already cut out because I want to use the heart full of hugs and kisses, and I just thought that would be nice placed in the middle of a heart. So we're going to stamp that, and we'll use we've got versafine Claire to stamp that with. Let me grab my ink pad. And oh, actually no, I'm not going to stamp it, and the reason being, you see I've got this at an angle, so I kind of need to work out what the angle is. So let's just put the lid back on that ink pad and assemble these hearts. Because if I stamp it upright, when I stick my heart on there, it's going to be a funny angle. Now the other thing I've done, because it's the tree is bare, so fine for sort of winter, autumny scenes. But and I know I've gone for quite neutral tones here, but you can add leaves. You might have a little stamp set that's got small leaf stamps. Or what I've gone for is more like blossom. A lot of trees come into blossom before they flower. So what I've that's because I've got glue on my fingers and the pin's sticking to me. So what I've used is and I'm not going. I have them already cut out. You don't need to see me assemble these. Now this is the Susan's Garden Geranium, and they used to make this lovely flower. So all I've used, because I wanted quite a few, and the great thing about this set is they come on this sort of thing here, and it cuts out 8 of each in one go. So it just makes life a lot simpler. So I used just those 2 from that die set to create all my little flowers for the blossom on my tree. Okay, so let's see how this is done. Okay, so you can see it's now flattened. So it's always worth doing that, but you know, to avoid it, store your cards stock the right way. Right, so let's now stick our stenciled image onto this. Like so. Nice little gold border. And then we'll put our heart on, and then I can stamp my stamp. I'm going to need to re-ink it because it's not like a kind of water base. It hasn't got a huge open time. So we'll stick that there. And then I'll re-ink my stamp. And then I can stamp that on. Like so. Now this kind of stamping is the kind of stamping that fills me with fear. Because if I don't get this right, let's see. A few little presses for extra luck. Yay! There we go, a heart full of hugs and kisses. Move that to the side. And then just going to get my little blossoms to add to the tree. Make it look a little bit more spring, even though I've used quite neutral tones. So we've got a little bit of blurring where I didn't stick my stencil down. So we'll try and cover some of that up with these. Let's stick these on. And we've got, let's see where we need to put them. Yeah, so I cut the larger of the flowers in the gold and the smaller in the Centura pearl, and then I've just used some really old black. I don't even really know what they're. They're not gems. They're not pearls. They're just something that came with a massive pack of stuff many years ago, and occasionally I find a good use for them like this. I'll put another one in there. And one more out here. There we go. So there is our stenciled card. So we embossed with the stencil through the machine and then inked through the stencil. Make sure you do actually stick your stencil down on like I did, and then you'll get a really lovely crisp image. Yeah. So and three colours of ink, nice and neutral. Now you could do this in bright colours, make it much more spring or summer like, but I kind of like the neutral colours. So that's, as I said, the third. I say the third because it's the third that we've recorded, but there's three. There are three ways that I've used this stamp and stencil set. So please check out our YouTube channel to have a look at the other two. Thank you for joining me.